Instagram models. Let's check what you look like. How's that look? Oh, you look amazing. This is going on for the last half an hour. Fix your hair, love, fix your hair. That's it, yeah. Beautiful. Oh, look at that, it's a great pose. You're like a little angel. You're not a model, right?
This is Shiobi. This is Shiobi, Academy homie, the one and only. MMA, BJJ, B and Nogi. Circle Pro Ninja, got the dojo keys. Home away from home, for the notorious and his whole team. Come to train, stay for the ocean breeze. Whatever gym you know, got its own beach. On the road to reach Mac life status. Fast conditioning on the white mats to be the best.
Yep. Marcel. Hi, John. Sorry I'm late.
Shiobi vlog.
No, I am, honestly, I'm sorry. Genuinely, it's not work. It's not work, it's just play, you know. There you go, look. The cage fighting goes on here, look. Deadly, Marcel, isn't it? Right. And to the man. Look at that for a fucking, look at this thing. Half ramp. Do you know what I mean? In his speech.
Probably not. They live in top of the Australia, you know.
Yeah.
It's nice, but not when the front door closed back to the back door, you know.
Yeah. That's true.
I went from Peralta as well, and then you end up in. I ended up in another hippie, not a village, but like a place.
Yeah.
What's it called? Vino Velho.
Yeah, Video Value, that's where I'm going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the hippie place?
Yeah.
Oh,
They've
okay.
got their own.
That looks pretty organised.
It's very organised. It's all Germans with fucking.
Yeah.
They're all hippies with fucking Apple Macs, you know.
Yeah.
Dear customer, due to the current situation, we ask you to refrain from visiting the farm. We continue to offer our farm products Tuesday to Thursday. Thank you for your understanding. Ah? See the little house? Hey, how you doing? When is the cafe open again?
You're allowed to drink coffee and a cake.
You can have coffee and a cake?
You want some sugar?
No, there's already sugar in the cake, Marcel.
Yeah.
Cake, coffee and conversation. Hard to beat, isn't it? Quanto costa?
3,10.
3,10. John boy. Marcel. Huh? Oh yeah. I'll bring it in. That's the approximate. Oh, slot machine. So we got this little Little baby bird. It's had to fall now off from up here because they nest up here and they come in, and the mother's been trying to get it in. See the mother's here, look, trying to teach you how to fly up. So I'm just gonna throw the cloth over and bring it upstairs, and hopefully she flies off all right. So there she is, and there's the mother. So the mother's trying to teach you to fly up, and then this one can't get the elevation. So I'm just going to throw a teach all over it before it gets too stressed. But I was wondering what the racket was. Let's bring her upstairs. There she is, look. You see that? She's lovely. Right, we're gonna bring you upstairs. Oh, mama. There's the mother with him. Giving him food. Ah, that's great. He's bollocks to you. She's trying to get him to fly up into that, but he just can't seem to get up, so I'm sure he's tired after. I don't know how long he was in the gym for. It's probably his first day out. It's the COVID-19 drive-through. Out the door. Wow. Yeah, isn't it? Okay, it's interesting. So that's the drive-through centre. Drove through, got tested, all good. On to the next thing. Yeah, you need a letter from the doctor to go. Alright, we got a poke bowl. Salmon and all that goodness. And a kombucha. Chrome Industries bag. It's got a fucking. Come on, son. Come on, everyone. Down. Launch it. Oh, that's good. That's good. So here's what you get. You get salmon, avocado, seaweeds, edamame beans, corn, tomatoes, and then on the bottom of that is rice. Poke bowl, traditional Hawaiian food. And this one in Lagos is the best one I've had anywhere. Good one in Dublin, down by the Halfpenny Bridge. But I always try and find one of these now when I travel. This is definitely the best one. Probably Hawaii's gonna have to beat it. Poke bowl Lagos. Okay. Boom. How's that? How does it look? Agua today. It's got a little charcoal filter in it. Here, refilling. And you just put in tap water. And then you got purified water. So I wanted to tell a story today about, and this one, the more I thought about it, the more I realised how important it is to get these stories down, because, for me anyway,
because when I started to think back, I really had to think hard about what happened, who was there. And then the more you start to think about it, the more you start to remember. I think, shit, and that happened, oh, and that happened. And I said it to a couple of people, and they told me a couple of other things that I'd completely forgotten about. So I thought I'd just do a recap on it. And it's about the first ever MMA camp that I put on here in Shiobi. And it's just over 10 years ago, 10 years in April there. And I've been meant to do this over the last while, but I was looking for the original footage and I can't find it. Now, it's there somewhere, but at the time, now I've got like tons of hard drives because I shoot with a higher resolution camera. I shoot 4K, it eats up the data, and I've got hard drives for days. But at the time when I was shooting, I maybe had one hard drive, small little yoke, little small files. And sure, I don't remember what that one was. And you didn't label it. Now I label everything. But at the time, it was just like, oh, just stick it there, save it. But you're having to go through files. So any of the footage I show you is from the little movie I made of the week. And it was 6 days long, 15 sessions. Proper hardcore camp. And I'd gotten here in January that year. So that would have been 2010. And then I'd already, before I left Ireland, I'd already decided I was going to do a MMA camp in April. I was going to organise all the coaches, organise the accommodation, organise the food, organise the transport, and obviously the training. And that was the thing. I'd got the things printed up before I left. I started going around to different gyms, and I started putting up posters. Actually, one of the weirdest ones was I went to, I don't know the guy's name. See, that's the thing, when you think back like 10 years, you think, fuck, I went to this guy's gym. There was a guy over in Eastwall. I think Dave Gordon has the gym now. And he was an English guy. Can't remember his name. If you know his name, send me a message. But he was I think he was a karate guy, and he did beginners MMA. I'm sure you people that have been around longer will know who that is. But it was interesting. I went around to a few different gyms, and I asked, look, can I put up this poster? I'm moving to Portugal. I'm going to put on this MMA camp. I'm going to bring a guy from Thailand. I'm going to have the best coaches. We're going to do like 2 sessions a day. It's going to be great. And I went over to this guy's gym, and it was coming near Christmas. They were having a little wind down session, and while I was there, I said, "Listen, can I jump in on the session? It's going to be an easy session, wind down." And then I told them where I trained and who I was and blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, it turned into this like, right, it's going to be a hard session. And the funny thing was, the warm up was the Bass Rutten warm up, but it was his voice. Defense with his English accents, 1, 2, and 4, and strike, and knees, and elbow. Defense was just Bass Rutten by his voiceover, and he didn't even do it. He just pressed play on a CD player, and he just stood back watching it. I can't remember his name. I know he fought someone in MMA and he got fucking murdered. It was just a bad match. Fucking hell. Because when I saw the matchup, I was like, why would you put him against him, you know? But I suppose he talked himself up. But how he got out of things was the beginners MMA. Anyway, he wouldn't put the fucking poster up either. So that was that. And then I'd gone around to a few other places. They'd put up posters. And I'd never done anything like this before. I'd never, knew how to do ads or any of this stuff. So Facebook was kind of only new, I suppose. There was no Instagram. So I did a lot of trolling. I did a lot of, looking up BJJ schools, MMA schools in the UK and Ireland, and just emailing out, hey, I'm putting on this camp, blah, blah, blah. I went up to the European Jiu-Jitsu Championships and I thought, I'll fucking compete while I'm there. I did that, and I was trying to hand out flyers and stuff like that as well. But for me, I wanted to put on a camp that I wanted to go to. So what I did was, I had 3 different coaches. I had a Muay Thai coach, that was Jovan from Thailand. I had Dave Roach as the MMA coach, and I had John Kavanagh as the BJJ coach. Now, Jovan I met Jovan back in 2007, first time I went to Thailand. And Jovan was one of these dudes that had lived there for a long time. He was Canadian, just a great character that showed us the ropes. We just became friends. And he used to fight every week. And what would happen was, one of the Westerners would go to the gym and they'd all say, yeah, give me a fight. And then come fight day, they'd just go missing, they'd lose their balls. And Cobb used to organise these fight nights in Chiang Mai. And Cobb would ring, he was one of the coaches in Choi Ai Gym. He'd ring Jovan, the guys have not showed up, can you come in? It's like 6 p.m, the fight's on in 1 hour. And he's like, okay, I'll just get some food, I'll be in. And he'd just go in and he'd fight to pay the electricity bill or whatever. And it was kind of like, for Jovan, I felt like he'd already had like way too many fights. I wanted to bring him over to kind of get him into coaching. And that's what I did. And most of the money actually went on his flight to fly him over, because I had to fly him like 3 different flights to get here. But I was delighted I did, because he started getting into coaching and after that. But he was just a fucking humble, super cool guy. And then I got Dave Roach to be the MMA coach. And at the time, Dave used to like coach in John's place, but he didn't seem to like it. But he was a great coach. I used to love him coaching. I used to love going to his classes because he was just great at explaining. But I don't think it seemed that he could see the same thing that we did. And when it came down to it, he wasn't able to make it. Something popped up, and like I got a call like 2 days beforehand, and something popped up and he just wasn't able to make it. And I was like, fuck, I've no MMA coach. Now with John Kavanagh, but I wanted to keep John as the BJJ coach. Now obviously John could teach MMA, but I had this thing in my head where I was going to have like Muay Thai coach from Thailand, an MMA fighter that just does MMA, and a BJJ guy that just does BJJ. But obviously John does MMA and he could have done both, but I'd kind of build it as 3 different coaches. You're going to come and get the experience. So when they'd arrived, I'd gone to the local gyms or the local things that were here. There was a couple of Muay Thai places and stuff like that. And I just called in and say, hi, I'm Colin. I'm starting an MMA academy up in Lagos. Nice to meet you. Blah, blah. You know, just to kind of, instead of, what's that fucking prick doing up there? Do you know, that kind of way? So I just put a face on the thing. And I'd gone down to Albufeira to Top Team. That would be Florin Ventilla's gym. And Florin had a great history of Muay Thai. He'd fought on one of those Contender TV series. He'd won kind of titles all over the place. Guy from Romania that had kind of come to Portugal to start a new life, self-taught, started up a great gym, great bunch of people. Fought MMA as well. He was a Vale Tudo champion. Back when it was like, you had to have a little balls to get in there. Back when no one really knew what was what. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now it's kind of, you can watch a bit of tape on people. They just got in and had a scrap. So what happened was, I rang Florin, it was the day before the camp, after me meeting him for like 2 minutes. Went down, he was teaching a class, didn't want to interrupt him. I said, listen, I was late for the class, that's what it was. So I didn't want to interrupt the class. I said, listen, I'll come down for another class, blah, blah, blah. Nice to meet you. Called him the night before the camp. I said, listen, my name's Colin Bourne, I met you there last week. And yes, I remember. I said, listen, I'm a coach down. Would you be able to teach MMA for a week in my gym? He's like, yeah, no problem. Just like that, no problem. And then the other thing was like, how much do you want? And he was like, well, whatever you pay the guy. And I wasn't paying the guys anything. I was just kind of covering their expenses because it wasn't really a profit-making thing. He goes, no problem, just cover my expenses. And he could have done like, ripped me on it, but he didn't. So that was Florin. And then I had John, obviously, was going to be the BJJ coach. So I had 24 people show up. And it was brilliant. And I just went all out, all into it. I hired a car. I did 4 runs to the airport and picked up everybody from every flight on my own, drove down, drove back, drove down, drove back, drove down, drove back. And I had a lot of different people come from, like some people come from the BBD. Anto came, Danny came, and it was just such a good bunch of people. I mean, Owen Geraghty came, Cara McCormick came, Dave Coleman came, Dave Callahan came that I never met. I had a few people that I'd never met come, but most of them I knew, and they kind of showed up to support me. And it was just like a really, really good bunch of people. Ash Daly came, Ash DeBash came with John, and it was super. And when I got here, I decided that you would eat, sleep, and breathe training. And because I'd come from like a cycling background where I was used to that whole kind of team thing where you're just embedded, especially with stage race riding, you're just embedded in it. You just didn't train and go off and do your own thing. I kept everybody together for the experience of the week, and that week probably felt like a lot longer to a lot of people. But I did a little talk at the start, like, you've come here, you've made the effort, you got on a plane, just go that little bit further. Be an MMA professional athlete fighter for the week. Be on time, don't miss a class. Bring everything to every session. And that's what everybody did. And we just had some like amazing times. Rossa came from the ninjutsu as well. I mean, I had one girl, Carolina, came. She used to come to I used to do self-protection class in Brian McCarthy's place, and she used to come with a bunch of Polish chicks, and she came as well. And she was great, just got stuck in like everybody else. I did this thing where I decided to break it up during the week and put in a mental test. Instead of all just being the physicality, I'd put in a mental test. And that was a Navy SEAL drill. It was kind of cold water, basically, and make people under pressure or under cold not be able to think straight. So I broke it up into 2 groups, and the pool, it was freezing as well. It was April. Sometimes April here can be like 14, 15 degrees. Other days it can be 25 degrees. But you've still got that cold air. Plus the pool was freezing. And at the time, that pool outside was like 3 meters deep. It was super deep. So it was a lot of volume of water. So it was super cold. So what I had was, I broke it into 2 groups, 2 even groups. And what they had to do was they had to swim with a weight underwater. So they had to move the weight. So you get underwater, you have a weight, and you move it underwater. And then as soon as you can't breathe anymore, you come up, you drop it, you swim back, and you touch the next person's hand and they dive in. Now everybody thought this was the test, but this wasn't a test. This was just a test for picking the teams. So the fastest guy on each side was the captain, and they picked the teams. This was the test. Was I paying attention to who was good at swimming? Was I paying attention to who could hold their breath the longest? Was I paying attention to who was quitting or who was getting cold and who was kind of wussing out a little bit? Because the actual test was, you got a weight sat on the bottom and you look at each other like this, and whoever stops breathing or looks for breath first and goes up to the top loses. That was the test. So that was like, it was super cold. Max was like super enthusiastic about it in his speedos. But it was just brilliant. It was just brilliant. I mean, a lot of the stuff we did, like the variance in the coaches, like Jovan was very Thai style, just great, solid, basic elbows, knees, lots of sit-ups, lots of press-ups at the end. John Kavanagh was, as usual, super slick, super smooth, super 1, 2, 3, repeat, add some pressure. And then Jovan, or Florin, was his... If you'd never met Florin is like a peacock, you know. He'll tell you how great he is. But he's a great guy, and he brought a lot more fire to the camp. Whereas if you look at the other ones, John would be more like water, Jovan's like rock, and then Florin would be more like fire. And so the first day he comes down, okay, let's spar. You know, we'll just see who's what, see what's what, see what levels guys are at. And I sparred with him the first time. Now, he was wearing MMA gloves and not wearing a mouth guard or any of that stuff, because that's just the way he is. Old school. And he kicked me with his, like, liver kick. Looked like nothing. I didn't even think anything of it, and he just walked away. I was like, why is he walking away? And then the liver spazzed up and dropped me. And that was flooring. Great. And it was just a great all-round camp. One of the days we went surfing just to break it up, bring the lads out in the equaliser to sea. And then there was also one of the nights the lads all went out. And in this town, there's a kind of like little rough element going through it, even though it doesn't look like it. But if you go out at night, there's the little gangs, the little gangs, the little locals, and you're not a local, and the bars close at certain hours. And at the time, there was a club called the Phoenix. When all the other bars closed, the leftovers went to the Phoenix. The boys that didn't know when to go home, go to the Phoenix. And my lads went to the Phoenix. So we didn't know even when anyone was there. We got up for I think that was on the 5th day, got up for the session, and there's a few bodies missing. I was like, where the fuck is everybody? So Lee Coakley was here, and the inner city boys. So I went up with the shinoi banging on the door, shouting, and they hadn't even woke up yet. I was like, get the fuck down on the mat. I'm after flying a guy all the way from Thailand. Have some fucking respect. You're here to train, not to fucking drink. Down they came. But one of the lads, I got a bump on the head, a couple of gashes, stuff like that. They got rocks thrown at them outside. It was a bit of a fracas kicked off in this club anyway. And word got around that I had a bunch of fighters here. And the doorman came up to say he had not been involved, blah, blah, blah. But when he walked in, they all saw him and they all thought, like, this is guy part of the fight. And he just got surrounded all of a sudden. I think he got a little bit of a fright, especially off Joe Van. He was going to punch him in the fucking head. But it all worked out great. I mean, like at the end of the day, you learn a lot about yourself and stuff like that. It was something that I was very proud to do. It was something that I didn't make a bean out of it, but it wasn't about that. It was about that, something that I would like to go to, and I wanted. But it was the fact that the people that I knew showed up, like Darren O'Rourke showed up. Him and Anton knocked the shit out of each other the whole time, and people paired off, and people became friends. The other thing that happened, and it just happened, it was the first time I'd done a camp, so I didn't know what to expect. So I fed them together. So you got up, stayed in the apartments. I had 3 in each apartment. You came down to the Enjoy Cafe downstairs. Breakfast was ready. Then you came in, you trained at 11. Lunch was ready at 1. Went off, had a break, back in at 4, second session. And that was it. I'll see you tomorrow. The first night, I decided to go for a bit of a meal. And I said it to one of the lads, to maybe Carl McCormick and Max, hey, listen, I'm going for a meal. Let's go out for food. And when I was meeting them, everyone showed up. Everyone showed up. Without putting it on, hey, listen, there was already like a bonding had gone on, and every night was the same. Without me organising it, everyone showed up, and we all went out every night. So for that week, 6 days of training, 7 days that we're here, we all became friends, and we've got memories there well, that's what I say, not last forever if you don't write it down or if you don't tell about it, because there were so many details that thinking about this, I forgot about, I forgot about Ash falling over in the shower and banging her head and having to get stitches. I forgot about that. I forgot about like having to drive 4 times to the airport in one day. It's an hour there, an hour back, and obviously waiting around. But I got it done, And it was just such a good trip, and so many people made friends and stayed friends. Like Dave Callahan, I'm still friends with Dave. He'd been on a couple of camps, rang me the other day actually, So it's great to look back and see what I did and why I did it. And out of all the things in life, it's one of those things that I'm proud of, and I'm proud that I did it. I'm happy I done it, and I'm still doing it. People are still coming. People are coming for the 3rd, 4th, 5th time. I'm still here. I'm still rocking it. Still loving it. Still learning. Still enjoying it. Still a martial artist, and all those things. And above all, everyone's welcome to come. Well, not everybody, but you know yourself. So that's it. That's 10 years. 10 years ago. And I'm not one to reminisce about, 10 years, blah, blah, blah. But I was in a different spot, still the same guy, I was in a different spot. And I took a chance, had a go, had a bash, and it worked. Do you know? Whereas if I hadn't done it, I wouldn't be sitting here now. You know, I just took a chance, rolled the dice. What's the worst that can happen? Nobody comes. And that happened too. I had ones where nobody came. But that's another story. But on that one, it was glorious. It was my first one. And it was just like, everyone that came, well done. Well done for coming. And I have pictures up on the wall of it. And I have video of it. I will find the original files. But the stuff that you've seen throughout the video is stuff I pulled off YouTube. I'll leave a link down to it. Actually, do you know what was funny? The first day, myself and Jovan were standing up on the steps. I brought them all down to the beach to run up and down the beach. And there was a couple of tough lads there. There was one lad there, he had all tattoos all over his chest. They ran down, Carl ran them down, and then ran them back up. And it was missing two lads. I was like, where's the two lads gone? Their feet were hurting them from running in the sand. The city boy feet, you know what I mean? All the toughness, but they'd soft feet, you know. They were the first two. But everyone, like I say, no one missed a session. Everyone got stuck in, everyone pushed themselves, and everyone gave it their all. And that's really what makes it, is when you get a collective of people, instead of pulling and pushing, some fellas doing this, some fellas doing that, and set the precedent for it, and precedent for it, not the president, set the precedent for it. And I'll keep doing them. I'll keep doing them. So that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. They've brought in a thing now where I've got to wear a mask anywhere you go. State of emergency's over. You can go on the beach now and do a few bits and pieces. So yeah, that's it. So that's it. We are all one. Harikrishna. Namaste. #Rafter. Rafter.